Good morning, everybody. The petition against the Global Compact for Migration is open until February for signatures, and the more signatures we get, the better the petition looks in the House. I don't think it'll change any minds, but still, the more signatures, the better. Make sure you click on the link in the email they send you, or your signature will not count. You can sign at the top or scroll down to the bottom and sign at the bottom and see how many signatures we've got. Also, join the conversation. I've noticed a lot more posts recently, so that's wonderful. Lovely to see people. I've been posting, and I'll show you how to add a new post. You scroll down to the bottom and put your topic and content there, and then notify yourself of follow-up replies and hit submit, and then you've created a topic. So just in case you haven't or don't know how to use it, that's how you use it. Join us, CanadaPoly.com. You have to register in order to read and in order to post. So if you're not registered, you won't see it. You can register on the right here. Check your spam folder just in case the email goes there instead. Our stories today, well, politics is kind of funny with all the traditions, and this is a tradition in the House in Canada. Somebody gets up and Mr. Kuzner will say his poem, and I always like this. It's done every year. Somebody who's in government in the usually majority party does a little poem, and it's supposed to kind of poke fun at everybody. And he does a pretty good job. It's kind of funny. So here we go.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. 'Twas the week before Christmas, and our last week in this place. So here's one final ditty before they walk out the mace. Let me ask your indulgence and suggest that we pause to see what's in those letters to our dear Santa Claus. The opposition leader asked Santa for a fresh ride, a new Ford family wagon. He'd drive it with pride. But to get something so bloated, the chances are slim, and from early indications, it seems Ford is driving him. Gift-wrap surprises are now sheer delights. Like when Rob Ford said au revoir to Francophone rights. He'll ask Santa for groceries is everyone's hunch, because the member from Beauce has been out eating his lunch. The NDP letter provides a bit of a twist. A victory in Burnaby is not on their list. And in Quebec, where Bloc support has gone right through the floor, they're just begging old Santa to be relevant once more. What's in the PM's letter? You need not ask twice. It's peace, hope, and justice, and a pipeline would be nice. And my ask from Santa doesn't have to be seen. It's 4 more years of good government starting 2019.
Yes, good government one can only hope for. A sane government, a non-globalist government, a government that cares for the Canadian, the everyday Canadian, and the Canadian who is actually in Canada right now, and not a Canadian who is a potential Canadian or one who just walks over the border and loses all their identification and ends up in a hotel room in Toronto. Fake refugees. Anyway, other stories today are happening. Lots happening with Omar Khadr. He apparently has dropped out of nursing school, but that's not what this is about. It says, quote, in his affidavit, Omar Khadr proudly said he has been volunteering with an organization that helps, quote, refugees integrate into the community. What do Canadians think that, quote, could go wrong with a devout, pious Al-Qaeda terrorist murderer coaching refugees? Canada Poly. And yeah, so that was interesting. He's also petitioning the government to give him a passport to travel to Saudi Arabia to see his sister, who totally isn't a terrorist anymore. Or is a terrorist? Or is an Al-Qaeda sympathizer? I'm not entirely sure. There's lots of conflicting reports. Depends on what you read, I suppose. But I think that it's very interesting that this admitted... I mean, he placed bombs and things to kill American and U.S. soldiers, and now he's wanting to go and travel back to Saudi Arabia? That seems strange. Here's Lisa Raitt on Twitter. I just listened to a CBC reporter comparing Omar Khadr's making bombs and planting them to blow up Canadian U.S. soldiers as no different than teens in St. John's who get into trouble and end up arrested and in court. Yeah, the reality and what the CBC is reporting are two different things, and that's very interesting to watch. people have been asking, and I've been asking. I'm interested, and somebody put together the Yellow Vest Canada, and here's the website. The link is in the description, and the link is on my forum as well. Come and have a conversation about it if you want to, but go visit the website. They are anti-UN Global Compact, and they have a list of rallies. Supposedly, these are rallies that are organized. I saw this on Twitter. I retweeted it, and well, here you go. If you are in these cities, maybe contact these people. There's a contact page on their site here, and this is all we can do. At this point, we're about educating the public to what's going on, because a lot of people don't know what's going on. And I want to be very clear. Some CBC reports were talking about the fact, or saying that the yellow jackets were violent. And the only violence I saw from anybody wearing a yellow vest was in retaliation to police attacking them. I saw lots of images of police in riot gear being aggressive towards yellow vest people. And yeah, I saw yellow vest people throwing things back, etc. I am not advocating for any kind of violence. I think that absolute silence would be the best way. In Paris, they shut down all the highways. They shut down the major travel sections to say this far and no farther. Like, if you can't get to work, that shuts down the money-making core, right? So that's what their plan was. At this point, I don't know that we have enough to shut down a major roadway, but that's because people don't know what's going on and people don't understand the stakes, really. And so right now it's about education. So having people out talking about this, protesting about this in a coordinated way across the country, I think that is probably one of the best ideas I've seen yet. So check out the Yellow Jackets, Canada.net, and check out their events. And let's see what happens. Here's an interesting story I saw a couple of days ago and I flagged. Financial Post is reporting Canada stokes concerns with decision to accept Alipay credit reports on visa applications. Similar to other mobile payment apps, its credit ranking system could monitor trustworthiness and political conformity of citizens. Canada's Immigration Ministry now accepts credit reports produced by a Chinese mobile app as proof that Chinese citizens applying for travel visas are financially stable, a seemingly benign gesture aimed at accommodating tourists that is instead raising concerns with some scholars studying the rise of a so-called social credit system in China. The mobile app Alipay runs the financial wing of the Chinese retailing behemoth Alibaba. Has become a major method of payment in China's largely cashless society, with 900 million users globally. It's somewhat akin to other mobile payment apps, Google or Apple Pay, though it also offers an opt-in credit ranking system. That system, Sesame Credit, draws from a number of loosely defined sources that extend deeper into personal data than typical North American credit ratings, looking at users' professional and educational background, the kind of products they buy, and how they interact with other Alipay users. The app generates a score between 350 and 950, doling out privileges to high-ranking users, such as the ability to rent a bike, a book, or book a hotel room with a deposit. Or without a deposit, sorry. That methodology has come under scrutiny amid concerns about how it could intersect with China's professed plans to implement a system of, quote, social credit that would essentially monitor the trustworthiness and political conformity of its citizens. So basically, if Walmart had an app that paid its employees instead of giving them currency, and that currency, that kind of quasi-currency worked everywhere, or just at Alipay, but it doesn't really matter because Alibaba is one of the biggest retailers in the country, right, in China. So they can just use it to buy what they need, which McDonald's tried to do as well in the United States. They were trying to give cash cards like as payment for, like, you can use it at McDonald's. And that didn't fly. The United States quashed that. But I find it very interesting that Canadian immigration is saying, oh yeah, no problem. We'll take that report. Thanks for the data. Yoink. Really, really, really strange. Here is probably the most terrifying poll you've seen if you are in Canadian government. If you're Justin Trudeau's Liberals, and really for anybody outside of Alberta at this point in time. So the poll was a CTV news poll, and it says, should Alberta separate from Canada? And 4,236 people, or 67%, said yes. And 2,073 people said no. That's 6,000 votes. That's not a small poll. And I mean, it's online, so it's one of those things that's not scientific, but it's interesting. It's eyebrow raising, right? Here's another one. Danielle Smith says, quote, just had a powerful conversation with W. Brett Wilson, who says he feels like Alberta is being pushed out of Canada. Do you agree that Alberta is being pushed out of Canada? And 75% say yes, with 8,173 votes. So a larger sample yields a higher yes vote. Again, online, not scientific. However, very, very concerning. 34 electoral seats. I don't think any of them are going to go Liberal this year. I think they had 2 or 3 Liberals in 2015. But the point isn't really that. It's that if Justin Trudeau is reelected, he's going to have Alberta separation to seriously contend with in 2019. So hopefully our Christmas poem comes true and we get good governance in 2019, and good governance would necessarily not include Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau would need to be gone. So thank you very much for watching. I will have an in-depth look at the question period on the 12th for Mr. Scheer, because he did do a good job, and I wanted to point that out. And I will be doing a tweet roundup for Mr. Bernier as well. So I've got some videos to catch up on, and I'm looking forward to it. And thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.